Hello, and welcome to another lesson. Today, we're gonna be solving another worksheet, two-step equations. After working with one-step equation for addition, subtraction, and then one-step equation for multiplication and division, today we're gonna combine them. We need to remember a little bit about order of operations. Whenever we solved numerical expressions only with numbers being multiplied, divided, with brackets and so on and so forth, we need to follow the order of operations. We knew all the numbers in the expressions and we need to follow the order operation. You might have learned them in different ways, either PEMDAS, BITMAS, BOTMAS. Maybe you could write down below here in the comments which one did you learn. Often I teach my students with PEMDAS. P stands for parentheses, exponents, then multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But today, since we are solving equations, we're gonna do backwards the order operation. So the last two letters, addition and subtraction, that is the first thing that we need to undo. So let's check the first example to see what I mean. Here we have the first equation, 2x plus 7 equals to 3x. We have here one term with variable in one side of my equation, and then we have another term with a constant. Can we simplify? Can we put them together? No, we can't. They are not similar terms. On the other side of my equation, we have now another term with x, so we could combine if they would be in the same side of my equation, but we can't at this moment. That means if I cannot add the 2x and the 7 in one side together, we need to remove one of them. In this particular equation, we have more x terms, and that is the reason we're gonna remove one of them. So we're gonna be taking out 2x in one side of my equation, but we also need to take out 2x in the other side of my equation. We already learned that adding and subtraction exactly the same amount. 2x minus 2x, they cancel it out, is 0. We don't need to write 0. In this side of my equation, we have 7 units left, equals under the equal. And then in the other side of my equation, we do have now one term, 3x, and another term, minus 2x. They are similar terms and we can combine. We can make a calculation in here. 3x subtracting 2x, gonna have only 1x left. 1x or just x is then my final answer. X is 7. Let's transfer the same knowledge into the next equation. To point it out, we have 3y's in one side and 4y's in the other side of my equation. We cannot combine them there, two different sides. In the left hand side, we also have -9, the constant part. There is nothing we can simplify, so we're gonna be undoing the other operation. Adding or putting together 3y and 9 doesn't work. We need to remove one of them. And the one taking out is the variable part. We have more variables in both sides, so we're gonna remove one of them. Plus 3y minus 3y, cancel it out. What is left in the left hand side is just a -9 equal sign, and in the other side 4y minus 3y gonna be 1y or just y. We're gonna carry on exactly the same idea in the next few equations. Let's highlight the variable parts, the terms that has variables, the terms that has constants. We only have one, and in here we are subtracting 4z and then adding 14, not similar terms. We're gonna do the inverse operation to one of them. If you minus 4z, the inverse is adding 4z in both sides of my equation. Adding and subtracting exactly the same amount, cancel it out. 14 equals 4z minus 3, gonna be equals to 1z or just z. Z is equal to 14. Moving on, equation number 4, we have here 5w and 6w, and then we have the constant part in one side. We're gonna undo adding 5w's by minus 5w in one side and the same in the other side. Equals under the equal, and then we can calculate. Plus 5w minus 5w, cancel it out. We have minus 4 left out. 6w minus 5w gonna be just w. So W is equal to minus 4. Let's continue. 6a minus 8 equals to 7a. Can we simplify? Can we put together 6a and negative 8? No, we can't. Maybe we could also put here the colors that you could see which terms are similar. There's no similar terms in the same side of my equation. Let's start moving things around. Subtracting 6a in both sides of my equation. 6a minus 6a, cancel it out. Minus 8 is left, equal 7a minus 6a is just a, or 1a. Either way is correct. We have now an equation where the variable part has a decimal coefficient, does not change anything, but just need to start working out with decimals as well. And then we have the constant part. We cannot combine. There are different terms in here, so we need to undo. We're gonna start by removing 1.5b in both sides of my equation. Counting out minus 1.5 plus 1.5, they cancel it out. We're gonna have minus 3 equals 2.5 minus 1.5, gonna be just 1.0 or 1, and by now you know that 1b is just b. Next equation, now we have a fraction, variable part with a fraction, 2/3 of c, 2/3 of c. And the same thing we have in the other side of my equation. We also have a variable part with a fraction, minus 1/3 of c. And then we have only one constant, plus 2. If we are adding 2/3 of c, even though it's a fraction, we can still doing exactly the opposite. If you're adding 2/3, we're gonna remove 2/3. So that's gonna be minus 2/3 of c in one side of my equation, and then minus 2/3 of c in the other side of my equation. In here is always good to put maybe a little plus. Each term is always being added, so adding a plus to organize. Adding 2/3 and minus 2/3, you already know, you're very good in canceling out. We have 2 left. In the other side of my equation, we just need to calculate. We always count the coefficients together. If you would rather write down minus 1/3 minus 2/3 of AC, this is the same as minus 3/3. They have the same denominator. We add the numerators. The numerators are negative. We can still add, no problem. Negative 1 and negative 2 makes negative 3. So negative 3 divided by 3 is just negative 1. So this is minus c equals 2. Minus c equals 2. And as we learned in the previous worksheet, if you didn't watch that video, maybe go back and watch. We want to check the opposite of my answer. If negative c is 2, the opposite of c, the opposite of negative c is c, and the opposite of 2 is negative 2. And that is my final answer. C is negative 2. Now we're gonna continue the two-step equations. We're gonna have still 2 operations. In here we have a multiplication, an invisible multiplication between the 2 and the variable d, and the division, dividing by 3. We have the same operations in the same steps, so you can pick each of them to start undoing. Maybe you could watch one of our previous worksheets where we have multiplication and division. They are inverse operation of each other. So let's start undoing. If you divide by 3, we're gonna be multiplying by 3 in both sides of my equation. So 3 multiplying by 3 and divide by 3, they cancel it out. We have 2d, or 2 times d, equals 2. 4 times 3, which makes 12. Next step, we're going to be dividing. Since we're multiplying by 2, we're going to be dividing by 2 both sides of my equation. Equal sign. 2 divided by 2, cancel it out, is 1d, or just d. And in the other side, 12 divided by 2 is 6. Next equation, looks exactly the same. 5 times x, then divide by 4. I'm gonna start undoing the division by multiplying by 4 in both sides of my equation. 4 divided by 4 is 1, that is left. 5 times x equals minus 25 multiplied by 4 makes 100. And the next step, we're gonna divide by 5. Divide by 5 divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so this is x equals, we can also use factors in here to see that this is 20 minus 20. A negative number divided by a positive is negative. Moving on. Next equation, we have 4y divided by 7 equals negative 12. Let's undoing our division by multiplying both sides by 7. Let's multiply by 7 both sides, cancel it out 7 by 7. We're gonna have 4y equals, and in this equation I actually would not multiply the numbers. I'm gonna leave them as factors in here. Minus 12 times 7, and hold on for a second because I know I need to reduce this by 4, so it's gonna be easier to reduce and then multiply, because now we're gonna do the next step. If I'm multiplying by 4, I'm gonna divide by 4. Let's divide both sides by 4, and now I hope they're gonna make clear for you. In the left hand side is the easy part. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and then we have here y. And on the right hand side, just check that we have 12 divided by 4, and then we could multiply by 7. So we can also reduce then by 4, which gonna give us a 3. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Thinking about factors, something we also learned in the beginning of the school year in the 7th grade is to use these strategies to make multiplication easier. So minus 3 times 7 is minus 21. I hope this is a good tip for you. Let's try the same strategy in the next one. In here, we're also dividing by 7. So we're gonna multiply by 7 both sides of my equation, and you can already see on the right hand side we have 45 times 7. You can do your math, of course, I know that, I trust you, but it's gonna be a big number. And later I need to divide since we're doing undoing. So let's go step by step in here. 7 divided by 7 is 1. In this side of equation we have 5 times z equals, and in the other side I won't multiply at the time, I'm just gonna still write down as 45 times 7. And now we're gonna undo the multiplication by 5 by dividing by 5, dividing by 5, and now the magic happens. 5, I'm gonna cross it out with 5, so one side of my equation we're gonna have z left, and in the other side of my equation we're gonna look 45 can be reduced by 5, we can reduce, and this is gonna be 9. And then we're gonna take this factor 9, reduce now, and that multiply by 7. 9 times 7 gonna be 63. And then our final equation. By now you already know, if you divide it by 2, we're gonna multiply by 2 in both sides of my equation. 2 divided by 2 is 1, that's gonna be 7w, or 7 times w equals minus 21 times 2. Again, hold for a little bit, and I leave minus 21 times 2. And the next step, the multiplication by 7, gonna be the inverse operation, gonna be dividing by 7 both sides. Left hand side can divide 7 by 7, gonna be 1, or just w, 1w, or w. And in the other side, check it out, minus 21 divided by 7, reducing 21 by 7 is 3. And then it's an easier multiplication, negative 3 times 2, gonna be minus 6. And there you have it. And in this worksheet, we had two families of examples. The examples where we had two terms with variables in both sides, so we need to solve them by undoing addition or subtraction. And then we had another family type of examples with multiplication or division. I hope you enjoyed this and see you in the next one.